I think it just shows January. He's done like some absurd amount of healing so far this game, like 15,000 healing. Goodness. Still, no rest.
Fnatic, they've taken every tier 3 tower. Some of these range Rexes are low in health, but unable to finish any off quite yet. And now they're playing without Aegis, so it does look like they're in at least, I mean, they have to play safe. Black Hole being down it's the one time of the game where Secret are able to play a bit more aggressive. The problem is it feels like Secret, when Black Hole's down, have got out on the map, got some vision down, but they've never actually been able to take a good fight. At least not for quite some time.
Play under vision, Secret. Stay up here, smoke up together. Fnatic are over at your Ancients. They're actually spreading pretty wide here as Fnatic. Oh, Mel clears out bottom wave. Jabs is in behind him. If Secret go up this high ground, they're going to be in a 5v3 to start the fight off. Not confident enough to do it though, breaking into that dark area of the map. They'd much rather push out mid-wave, stay under their observer ward, wait and bide out their time.
Playing things slow and parts of the map where you don't have vision, especially high grounds you just don't really want to mess with. Good job cutting the mid creep wave, alleviating some of that pressure that Secret's sending down the mid lane, and looks like they'll finally get their first racks of the game with this bottom range racks.
It took a while. We get the job done.
Eyes on DJ and Armel. They're looking for those initiations, whether it's a rolling thunder or a kickback. Puppy could become a target again, and there we go.
Straight in onto that Puppy Enchantress. Rules again, just delays the inevitable as she lands and hits the floor with a thud. Dead for 65 seconds, but Fnatic still tentative, aware of the threat of this Zeus Morphling.
It looks like a scenario where they're actually waiting for the Rolling Thunder cooldown. He hit 25, he's 27 now on Pengo, so the Rolling Thunder cooldown, it's already back, so Puppy's going to be dead, and they'll have Rolling Thunder. That's so nice for Fnatic.
Look at the grab! Eon Disc and the enchant from Nisha. Jabs thinking about the black hole. He's waiting, trying to look for the best opportunity, but it's only Zayas there as an option, and the quick movement.
Grabe yung save ng Earth. Mixture. Wala, GG na. GG, well played. Wala nang buyback. Walang buyback, walang buyback, walang buyback, walang buyback. GG, well played. Yeah, calling GG on Secret. Shitty.
Fnatic bouncing back and must feel so good because they took a long time before they first picked this Enigma. After losing with the hero in game 1, a lot of teams lose confidence in the pick, particularly with how well Secret played and drafted against it, but they made the necessary adjustments and Jabs came back and absolutely had a fantastic game here in game number 2.
It's on, absolutely spot on stuff. Much easier than finding the sniper, getting these black holes on the Morphling. And yeah, Raven, honestly, during the draft,
conectar. Por otro lado, sí que lo vi los Roy Clip por parte de Boxy, molestando a Creep e incomodando a Nightfall para que pueda tener la posibilidad de farmear un poco más tranquilo, ¿no? Y es en la parte superior que...
before he gets his Vanguard up, try and blow up the Pudge, give Nightfall that nice little start to the game that you really hope for, because the Brood Mother can be one of those heroes that can try and take over where the Shadow Fiend wants to play, and Mickey Solo killed Arbed once again, and I think this is where the pressure starts to build here for Arbed. He's the one that needs to make these rotations because Nikkei is just going to sit here and farm.
Life is a little bit complicated right now for this Queen of Pain. Top lane, they're also putting a lot of pressure out onto this Arteezy Sven. Playing in behind the tower, and Fly can't really do too much about this. Mid lane, Crit was thinking about trying to render some assistance. Arbed is about to crack level 6, just picked it up, but he sees the haste rune on Crit and he's like, yeah, this isn't happening, is it? Decides to just go back to his side of the map. Although on the bright side, down bottom, Nightfall did become too oppressively powerful pre the arrival of the Vanguard. So Matu has been bounced out of the lane in its entirety. Mid lane though, Arbed almost died. Sonic Wave will push back Nikkei. The charge is incoming. Foxy, can he finish him off? Of course he can. And now they're looking towards Fly as well. The Fire Snap quickly helped out. Crit at the very least gets some quick revenge with the pushwhack. But it's a 2-for-1 exchange in this mid lane. Liquid coming out on top of it. And that's also the Sonic Wave committed here, Fluke. So when he respawns, Arbed can't go and assist elsewhere on the map because his big spell is now on cooldown and he still lost his life first.
Yeah, Liquid are playing really, really good right now. They understand that Mikkei is their kind of shining star right now. He's the one that's having a good time. Oh, Matu.
Dude, if Crit's not here, then that is a dead Nightfall. But Crit with the bushwhack, just looking really, really good. This hero continues to impress on this Hoodwink, enabling him to get a kill middle on the Shadow Fiend, saving the life of Nightfall down bottom, and making sure that Nightfall's dominance continues into this game here.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing here for EG is they've at least got one hero that's doing a good job right now. Broodmother was able to come out on top. Arteezy now is just back on jungle duty. I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that Mikkei is such a dominant force right now. He's going to get an early Dragon Lance. Foxy though is going to go down inside of the jungle, and this is where it's going to become hard for EG. I talked about the fact that it's difficult for them to play this kind of draft on the back foot, and if they've got Mikkei as well as Zai just kind of rocking up to your towers, like how are you going to kick them out? You don't really have a good way of initiating. You don't really have a good way for getting your Sven injected into these fights unless you get something along the lines of like a Shadow Blade. But I think if EG are trying to defend their towers, it's going to be very, very rough for them to try and get some of this space back. So Team Liquid are definitely in a good spot here to be able to have an early bit of momentum going into the rest of this game.
Bottom, we see the difference that this Vanguard can make, because as soon as it gets picked up, Matu much harder to kill. But it's fortunately for him, Crit got Sharpshooter, and we saw exactly how much damage was going to emerge from him. Killing spree right now for Nightfall. 3 heroes have been brought down. Almost 700 damage dished out by the Hoodwink with one spell. Seems fair and balanced to me. And with them being able to kill Matu yet again down bottom, they'll surely claim this tier 1 tower. So they need to start making something happening elsewhere on the map. Zai has access to the ghosts. Do you think they should try and force a push maybe into this mid lane with ghosts, having Shadow Fiend available with Requiem, just try and ball up, force EG into an awkward position where they have to decide if we're going to try and hold this tower or not?
Yeah, it's kind of scary though, because if you leave Nightfall to his own devices, he's already going to be able to take down this tier 1 tower. I think you need to make it a very convincing fight for them. And Matu's walked in. Really have much else that they can do here up against the Pudge. I would like to see them ball in and try and take down this tier 1 tower in the middle lane, but EG, they're going to send a lot of their resources there as well. They understand that they can just leave RT to do his own devices in the jungle. Nightfall's the scariest hero on the map right now. They don't want to go anywhere near towards his lane, and as long as Arbed as well as Crit and Fly are holding hands towards this mid lane, it's going to be very, very hard for Team Liquid to try and get this fight without overcommitting a little bit too much.
Literally 50-50 betting odds, so extremely close between these two squads. Even the win probability at the moment is pretty much 50-50. Boxy will probably contribute towards EG being higher probability if he loses his life down bottom. They missed out on the bushwhack and on the sharpshooter. Boxy, you got your J's on, I see today. All right. And he's just several seconds away from getting the charge once more. Martin, can he find the hook? The angle, not going to be good enough. Too many creeps blocking the path. Fort is allowed to TP out, but it is a little bit of an issue that he's noticing that, well, Boxy, one of the reasons why we see the Spirit Breaker hero picked into the Brute so often, it's also so hard to burst him and kill him quickly, like so many other support heroes, that he can hold, buy time for his team to come in, and suddenly they can re-engage on top of you. But unfortunately for them, it did force Zai to the bottom lane, so I'm not going to have the Ghost push just yet. I say that, but he's drawing the line towards middle. Immediately bounding here to try and link up with his team. Matu is here as well. They've also got the charge onto Arbed. Looks like they want to try and force a fight here, Fluke. They go out with the hook. It doesn't connect proper. Arbed had Crit as backup though, who already dropped down the tree. Letting them know that, hey, a bushwhack is coming, fam. Don't do this. until they are forced to abandon the push.
And this is why I like the hoodwink response to this breaker as well, right? Because you can throw out the acorn shot and you've always got that pushback. So as long as the hoodwink is hovering around in the trees, it's very, very hard for this Spirit Breaker to come in on conventional angles, right? You saw Boxy come directly down the mid lane. You might have to see him try and start his trajectory from behind the trees on the tier 1 tower if they want to catch Arbet off guard and even catch Crit off guard as well. So doing a good job right now, EG, to slow this game down. They're the ones that are more than happy to have this game as a nice little slow kind of farm fest because they've got a Brood Mother, they've got themselves a Sven as well. And the Wraith Pack's going to be coming out very, very soon here for Nightfall, and that's when he can start to group up with his team. Once he's able to get towards these tier 1 towers, it's going to be on Liquid to see if they can get these responses going in, because they had a good first 13 minutes. Now it's about their responses to see what
Nice one. Good job,
Good to see that EG, what they can do right now is just use Crit and Nightfall as a duo to quickly get a kill onto Boxy. It's one thing when it's a Brood by himself, but with this hoodwink nearby, there's absolutely no way he survived that one. This bottom side of the map, man, just feels so dangerous. Anybody who walks into these webs, unfortunately not doing too much to play elsewhere. Silence middle though, onto Arbet. Do they have the damage to kill him? Morty's kisses are flying in as well, but they're not going to be on target, unfortunately. They might still try to commit for this though. Nikkei is here, nowhere close towards having BKB, and yeah, they are really, really skittish about popping ghosts for nothing. I want to make sure that the first usage of the spell will result in a tower actually falling. But yet again, we're having so much contestation in this mid lane here. Everybody's just hanging out. But now, oh no, top! They're going onto the Pudge. They will be able to catch him out with the Stormhammer. Sharpshooters there as well. Matu trying to stay alive right now. He's tanking so much damage. Reinforcements are coming, and they didn't have enough damage to actually kill him. Now suddenly Crit being the one that gets charged into. There will be the Nether Strike for Boxy. Certain death for Crit. And Matumba, man, had a rough laning phase, died twice, but he just has Vanguard, 4 points into Flesh Heap. Sweet! Pretty much invincible at this stage of the game. Fair and balanced, as we like to say, with how this game is looking right now.
Yeah, they didn't have the God Strength on Arteezy. He used it to clear an Ancient stack just a few moments beforehand. So EG just biting a little bit more often than they can shoot. If they had a few more of their zeros, it could have been scary, but they could walk into the webs.
All walking into the webs, and at the same time they found the silence and the drain out onto the Queen of Pain. The Spider, she's going to be able to escape this fight and come back for the re-engage. Sonic Wave popped in by Arbet, but Arbet, one more ghost will kill him, but it's too far away. 100 HP, keep the Queen of Pain alive for now. And Zai, unfortunately, was saving these ghosts for so long. Fluke wanted the proper activation of them. It's good enough to bounce the Queen of Pain out of his jungle, not good enough to kill her. And now that they're down, they're not going to be able to utilize them to push on the tower middle anymore.
It's a little bit unfortunate when you have this this exorcism and you aren't able to utilize it for a kill there, but I think that just goes to show that that Liquid, they understand that Zion's actually really strong here on this Death Prophet. This Death Prophet hero, I thought we would be seeing a whole lot more out of it. I think this is a very, very strong hero right now, and it just goes to show that how much damage he's able to do. Crit has been found out by the charge, and EG once again getting caught out. Big pushback though. Is he gonna live?
Oh,
No way.
Nice. He's gonna die. Even when he's dying though, he's busy giving us some highlight reel plays. Shout out Crit. Been a really good player in such a long time. Great bushwhack, forces them to use the Morty's kisses. So there's one less tool in the arsenal of the side of Team Liquid here to utilize against EG.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Rune, it's a double damage down bottom. Dude, no cap, if this was a DD for the Shadow Fiends, the way they were posturing, I thought they might actually try to force a Roshan. I see a charge going on to Nightfall with the Nether Strike as well. He's stunned up by the Fire Snap Quickie. Nightfall is in danger. Drops the Wraith Pack Totem though, mitigating this damage. Arteezy coming in, looking for revenge. He finds the stun onto Insania as his team cleans up Boxy. With these 2 kills on the support, the path to the tier 1 tower is wide open. EG will take it. They're the ones now thinking about the Roshan because they still have the GG going on Arbet.
Yeah, I said that was going to be bad for Team Liquid there. They didn't have their Shadow Fiend and they didn't have their Pudge there either. Maybe if they had the Exorcism coming up for Zion, they could have potentially tried to win that fight. But the fact that there's this Wraith Pack here on the Brood Mother, they had Arbet who was always waiting in the wings. just to be able to provide a little bit of that extra damage. And as soon as that Wraith Pack goes down on the Broodmother, it is so hard to try and kill her inside of her webs here, just because of the maximum amount of HP regen that she gets. Like, she just turns into this absolute tank where she's sitting on her own webs. She has this Wraith Pack now. He's got a cloak. He's going to have this Hood of Defiance very, very soon here on the Broodmother, and he's just going to sit in these team fights. He's going to spam out the spawn spider legs. He's going to spam out these silken boulders. And then it's just going to be really, really hard for Team Liquid to try and commit to kill this Broodmother. Because if you don't kill the Brood, then she's going to build up these baby spiders. And then once the baby spiders are built up, they're going to start to tear people to shreds. And if they haven't been able to kill the Broodmother at the start of the fight, then they've utilized all their damage, they've utilized all their lockdown, and then EG just walk in with the Sven who's got the God Strength going, and same thing with Arbed, and they're going to do a lot of damage. So Liquid, they had a really good start to the game, and they had a really good idea about how they wanted to play around it, but it's just this mid-game, EG just have too many spells and too many items to be able to kind of play around with them. That's a nice little pick there on a crit, but EG are definitely in the driver's seat right now.
Smoke up. Oh, it's easy. Got a Blink Dagger active. Would love to activate this God Strength, jump on a hero and blow them up in 2 hits, and indeed, there we go. That hurts. There used to be an insane here there. He's gone. Fight back immediately, though. He wants to be involved in this fight, but they found the stun onto Mickey. He absolutely cannot die. Gets off the Requiem, though. The fear is going to be there. Here comes Zai, activating the Ghost. They're going on to Arteezy. Arteezy about to lose his first life. His only life, because Arbed is the one that's carrying the Aegis. He managed to bring down the Sven. Sonic Wave did come out from Arbed, but not enough to win the fight.
Zai's healing.
The Ghost able to clean up, but unfortunately, the Spirit Siphon not going to be enough to heal him all the way against Arbed, and the Ghost do not come back in time. So Arbed will be able to get the kill of Nightfall onto the Death Prophet. This fight ends up being somewhat even here. They get more out of it on the side of EG since they do kill the Snapfire and force her to buy back, but at the same time, losing Arteezy, that is not what you want to have happen here.
Yeah, they just weren't able to fully commit onto Mickey on the Shadow Feed. It was a nice little charge through from Boxy, just kind of caught them a little bit in disarray. You can see the power of the Requiem, just gets the perma-fear on everybody, and as soon as Arteezy is running away and not being able to be the one that sticks on these heroes, Zai comes in with the Spirit Siphon, burns him to pieces. Was a little unfortunate from Arbed. He only has level 1 in the Sonic Wave, very, very close to hitting that level 2 for the Sonic Wave. That definitely would have been into the Shadow Fiend, and Boxy gets away scot-free. Picking up Boxy, he's unfortunately, he's now dead.
Yep. No freebies this time around.
How about I teach
Okay, allowed to survive that last fight. You know, it's actually interesting, right? You were mentioning just now about this massive army that could emerge from Nightfall. Yesterday, when we saw this Pudge coming into a sort of pushing style draft, we saw that Pudge, like you mentioned, buying the early Crimson Guard. Could this be a game where that might be an option for Matsu after he finishes his Aghanim Scepter? Just to have that as a way to mitigate the damage output of these spiders, given that nobody is pulling a Wraith Pack? Well,
yeah, it feels just kind of bad playing in his Sven.
Yeah, that's true. Well, fortunately, Matsu's dead, so he has a lot of time to think about that item decision right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got 40 seconds now to be able to really think about like how he wants to play this. I believe he's ever close to his. Yeah, okay, he just beat up his Aghanim Scepter. Yeah, I would say it is a nice little way to at least deal with the babies, but it feels very, very bad in towards the Sven, because the thing is with Crimson Guard, it blocks a small amount of damage, so if there's lots of instances of small amounts of damage, it feels very, very good. Big amounts of damage like the Sven does when he hits God Strength and hits a Daedalus, yeah, not all too good. So I probably would imagine that he's going to go towards something along the lines of like a Shiva's Guard, just kind of build up this armor, build up this these kind of set of items that he wants to send in these fights. Obviously, Blink Dagger, BKB are on the menu as well, but things outside of the regular are going to be things like the Shiva's side as well. So Liquid, they need to try and fight their way back in towards this game, because they're starting to fall behind a little bit.
Got a BKB just now for Arbed. Not sure if he'll be able to use it in this fight. For now, they're going to focus all their attention towards Boxy. Also ate up most of the Morty's kisses. On the bright side, they do get to clean up the Tombstone, giving some bonus gold towards Mickey. But big thing is that this Tier 1 tower, 21 minutes into this game, it still stands. And Team Liquid recognize how big of a problem this is. I wonder if they'll decide to pop the Ghost for this one. They get charged up onto Fly. This Undying in danger. Nether Strike will be out onto him. Been silenced up, and Fly will die here. Both supports are gone. The double bash coming in from Boxy. That will enable Team Liquid to finally take the Tier 1 in this mid lane.
Dyer's middle tower.
That's a much needed space.
Yeah. Definitely, especially now that EG were starting to suffocate them a little bit. You can see that they were really starting to make this map feel small now that Abed has his BKB up onto the Queen of Pain. A few more of these items going over here for Nightfall as well. He's got the pipe. He's going to go in towards that Hex, and just understanding that his babies can do a lot of damage for him. He just needs to be able to keep everybody alive, and Boxy's going to TP away. Oh, he's not tanky enough. No, we get away from that one, but...
Look at Matu. He's waiting in the wings here, looking for a hook angle. He doesn't have his Blink Dagger just yet, but if Abed had come through the lane, might have ended up in a very awkward situation. Should they try to defend bottom? Because it looks like EG do want to play around that tier 2 tower, but they don't have an Aegis at the moment. Unfortunately, this is a very difficult tower to defend in general, so looks like they'll let it fall, but they're coming for the re-engage. Smoke up instantly. Boxy, who's he charging? He's going for crit. We'll be able to find him and Fly with the charge through there. Silence on the 2 as well. They really want to chase down these supports, but these supports are very happy to be chased down. It gives the rest of the squad an opportunity to escape, and that's exactly what's going to happen. EG get the tower, they get out, leaving behind the Undying. Doesn't live up to his name, but does draw attention of Team Liquid and allow EG to still play the map.
EG are perfectly okay with that. They've only really got... It's for them to wait out for the next potential Roshan's. So a minute and 30, and then after that, RTZ's in a good spot right now with the Sven. We'll take a little bit of stock of the heroes that we've got so far. So we've got Blink, BKB, Echo Saber, so I'd imagine probably building in towards maybe something like an AC or even just a Daedalus for his next kind of item would be nice for him. I wouldn't hate to see a Silver Edge or something along those lines. Mark 2 has the Aghanim Scepter, deals really, really well with the Spider Babies, as we've seen. Gonna see if they can kill Mark 2 here though.
No, more or less where he is. I don't have a direct lead on him. I did use it. I want to be able to jump him in with the babies. Finally find him with the babies, but Zay's also here with Ghost on the other side of the fight. Dismember going out onto RTZ. He can't do the damage. Never Striker's one is there. His BKB is being wasted. The Requiem blows him up from Mickey. Zay does die, but his job is complete, allowing them to bring down RTZ. And now the chase is on from the rest of Team Liquid. Charge in onto crit. Bushwhack will prevent it from going all the way through. But Matu, he's now starting to feel himself, getting deeper into the fight. They're looking for Fly. They should be able to also kill the Hoodwink at the same time. Double kill for Matumba, man. Now they wants to flee away. Team Liquid, they kite around RTZ. That's always been the biggest drawback of the Sven hero. If he gets kited, held in position, he can be killed. And Team Liquid did it in expert fashion here, Fluke, winning a team fight in the process.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive for Team Liquid. Not only did they take down the Sven, they just forced the team fight on their own terms. You see here in the replay that they got spotted out by the Spider Babies, but Boxy did a good job. They keep Nightfall at bay. Zay does a really good job at separating this fight as well. Understanding that Mickey and Matumba Man are going to be the ones that are going to be able to deal with the RTZ Sven here. Mickey perfectly timed Requiem as well, by the way. As soon as that BKB gets ended by RTZ, he gets blown up by the Requiem, and Zay did a really good job at being able to disconnect the fight, and then all it was Martu walking in with the big Aghanim Scepter. The power of the Pudge, right? It is oh so hard to try and get in on top of this series when he's got so much of his spell lifesteal. He pops his flash heat, walks in with the Aghanim Scepter, and it's very, very hard to deal with. Nightfall again.
Again, get it caught out. He got himself dismembered. The charge coming through as well from Boxy, and Nightfall certainly gonna die. RTZ coming in though, looking for revenge.
Oh, no.
He gets used up because he didn't get off his BKB. So Zay and the crew not really in danger of the RTZ Sven just yet. That's God Strength also committed there from the A-God. Well, Nightfall hasn't died in a while. That's his first death this entire game. Team Liquid starting to reverse the odds here. Starting to look a lot stronger in these engagements. Matu starting to get tankier and tankier and tankier. Each time they get one of these pickoffs, that's an additional flesh heap stack. And we've seen what can happen when these start to go up through the roof. Eventually, even the Sven with his massive outlay of damage will really struggle to deal with Matu as this game scales like this.
Yeah, and I think this is where RTZ might need to change his attentions to some of these other heroes. Mickey obviously has his own BKB, so it's hard enough for him to stick on top of him. But I feel like if he's able to get on top of Zay, he does have a Lotus Orb now as well on Zay, and his own Blink Dagger. So if they're able to catch out Zay with maybe like a Bushwhack into the Stormhammer and Sven pops the God Strength, then if they can blow up this Death Prophet, I think it makes the rest of these team fights relatively easy for them. They can keep on top of the Shadow Fiend, they can keep on top of the Snapfire. Speaking of the Spirit Breaker, Boxy's in a rough spot.
Matu comes in as well to put Abed in a rough spot. Gets the Dismember out. Fortunately, Mickey not there in time, so they can't combo it with the Requiem. Nonetheless, it's a demonstration of the threat that he has to deal with. Boxy's like, whatever. Died, they D-ward through the middle.
Under attack.
The frustrating thing is once you draw these heroes' attention back, you can't really make that jump again. Counterplay option, a little bit too scary. G. Win probability is now at the perfect point of 50-50. Love to see it. Gold lead, pretty much nothing in between it. Experience, pretty much nothing in between it. Game that's balanced perfectly on the knife's edge right now. All depends on the team plays that come out. And it's easy.
Oh, they find Matu.
These team plays, they go for Matu. They'll be able to find them. They reveal this Chrysalis. God Strength, Chrysalis, Abed there, and a Sharpshooter. They spare no expense in killing the Matu Pudge. And with his death, guess what's opened up here? Fluke, big man Roshan wants to say hello.
Yeah, and I was talking about the fact that maybe RTZ might need to change his target prioritization, but when you catch out Matu literally by himself, shows how much damage they can do. Now with the Matu buyback, are they going to get scanned here? EG are staying in the pit.
Staying in the pit, Morty's kisses were raining in. Abed and RTZ both pop BKBs to try and ensure that they can escape from this one. But RTZ, stopped by Boxy's Nether Strike. He will still be able to blink himself out as they do bring down this hoodwink on the far edge of the engagement. Rules up. There's no more BKB with the A-God. He is going to be brought down. Matu saying, well, it's nice, right? In the meantime, speaking of Matu, we got Abed in the mid lane. We go back to RTZ now as he gets Requiem feared into. Zai will be there with the bonus damage from the ghosts. And not only that, Fluke, they immediately bound onto the tier 2 tower in the top lane. Mickey is here. They have the whole crew with them. And Matu is pushing solo through this mid lane. And with 3 heroes dead all across the map, they might be able to put damage on 2 sides at the same time here.
Yeah, big team fight coming in there from Team Liquid. Zai is such a thorn in the side of Evil Geniuses. It's so hard for them to be able to walk in towards a lot of these team fights when Zai is just on the front lines. He's getting multiple Spirit Siphons off. He's dropping Lotus Orb on his head. It's very hard for them to stick. Happened there, they had to commit for the Roshan. As soon as that God Strength was down, RTZ had to pop the BKB so he didn't get killed by the Mortimer's Kisses. And yeah, you do have the Aegis, but he just blinks away. And that's all that really happens. He tried to get the TP out, but Boxy with the extra bit of game sense was able to get the bash going through it and got that stun there on RTZ. And now you can see RTZ picking out the punch in the Spirit Breaker. It's going to be very hard for them to continue this game going the way that it is, because they realize on Team Liquid that EG, they really don't have that much damage. Nightfall has gone for this kind of pipe build on the Broodmother, where the only real issue for them is playing around the spiders and playing around these Silken Bowlers. But at this point, the only real damage is going to be the Sven, and they're always going to have the kite ability with the bite that goes through BKB. They've got Boxy that goes through BKB with the ultimate and the Nether Strike. So, I mean, Liquid, they're in a really good spot here. They've been team fighting really well. So you feel like this game can be relatively even, though. We've seen what Svens can do if they just catch out one of those team fights, right? If he bursts out 1 or 2 of these heroes on Team Liquid, you're not going to have a good response for him. But if they're the ones that are on the front foot, if they're the ones that are aggressing in towards EG, feel how many issues they have by playing off the back foot and how hard it is for them to get into these team fights and get some kills.
Nightfall on the bright side did just finish off a Hex, so that makes it a little bit easier on the control department to give us easy time to just beat in onto these heroes. But the A-God is actually being charged into right now. They have vision of the fact that Boxy is doing this. Boxy will give up the Ghost, Dire Scan, good game sense. Look where Crit was going as well, in front of where the charge would be coming to intercept it. Crit's game sense sometimes is ridiculous. Feels like he's got map hacks, it's just too good.
It's like some of the guys that we're going to be seeing throughout the entirety of TI, they just have that Spidey sense, right? And it's the reason why these guys are sitting here playing TI group stage. It's the reason why I'm sitting in my bedroom. So,
reason why they get to play for millions of dollars and I'm just losing MMR.
It's always the difference, and that's why I think this game, I'm really interested to see what EG's plans are for the next couple of minutes, right? Like, they did just lose the Aegis. They're understanding that it's starting to get a little bit hard here for RTZ to play on the back foot. And they understand this, right? Like, they're grouping up. They know that they need to be the ones that are aggressing, because it's very hard for them to kind of fall back and peel off for each other and get these kind of counter initiations. What they really want to do is they want to be going in. They want Crit to try and find somebody with a pushback. They want Abed to be able to jump in towards the backline, put pressure on the Snapfire. They want Fly to be able to just control an area of the map by dropping a Tombstone, becoming the big flesh column as well, and then RTZ doing Sven things, blinking in and bursting people to pieces.
How do I remove chat?
Liquid. They're going to be the ones that are on the front foot, though. They're going to get the smoke going. If they catch out Crit here, it's going to be bad.
Spectator time. Remove them. Because they're
Happy to die
toxic.
for your squad.
We don't like toxic people.
Very dead. Once
Right.
he gets the +1, we're at 9
There's
stacks right
already
now.
too
Good
much
times.
toxicity in the world.
G.
We just
Nothing
want
they
to
can
watch
really do to
Dota.
try and defend this tower. Despite the fact that Liquid do not have access to an Aegis, they just are so strong. DK's also finished off a
They're going to
Silver
fight
Edge.
the high ground.
He's got a Silver Edge and a Paddy Sword. Are you kidding me? It's a little bit unfair. Flash, we'll get charged into right now. Matu finds him out as well with the blink. DK destroys him with the right click. And 2 heroes brought down. Tier 2 tower middle, I believe is also going to be in some degree of jeopardy here. Team Liquid, they know that they're playing 5v3 for now before the buybacks come in, and it's not going to take them that long to bring this tower down at the rate that Mickey is able to right click at the moment.
Yeah, Liquid are doing a fantastic job right now. They're just moving around the map as a squad. They understand that it's very, very hard for EG to fight into them if they're the ones that are walking up towards the high ground. They just put low sub on Mike. They just said, hey buddy, just walk up the high ground and see how you're feeling. So Liquid, they're in a really, really good spot right now to be able to hand EG their first loss of the group stage, especially on Hex.
At that time, the Hex did come out onto Boxy, but they want to remember onto Arteezy. Yet again, the Sven being kited to hell and back. Not even allowed to do right clicks. He got one right click off in that fight, but a Requiem destroys him yet again. Mega kill streak for the Shadow Fiend. Jules up onto Fly. They hold him in position. They want the additional kill here, and they are going to get it. EG feels like they're crumbling right now here, Fluke, as a double kill is granted towards Mickey on his SF. And that is going to be him also cracking level 21 in the process. They could decide what they want to do now. Ghosts are about to expire from Zai, so they could put a little bit of damage onto the tier 3 tower through this mid lane. Arteezy doesn't have buyback. For 44 seconds, he has to wait the long way to come back into this game. He will be forced to pop this thing. No other option. Team Liquid will respect enough to back off, but... Well, this is scary.
Yeah, Matu found Crit in towards the bottom side of the map. Nightfall's at least going to try and push them away from this tier 3 tower, but Liquid, the way they're team fighting is insane. The way that they're just like thinking about how these team fights are going to go. To be fair, it is pretty straightforward now that the game has gotten towards this point. Just make sure that the Svenja and the BKB can't do anything. They don't have a way of stopping Matu biting. I think that's the biggest thing, is they actually have no way of BKB bite stopping the Sven from walking around in these team fights. They've got the Lincolns now. They don't have to worry about this Hex coming out from Nightfall. Arteezy, he has to build a Lincoln Sphere, but he is so far away from that Lincoln's that I think this game could just blow out by the time he even gets close towards any of these components. And Liquid are just in the spot right now where they can constantly just take control of this triangle. They can continue to chip away at these tier 3 towers, and it's going to get to a point where EG have to try and make a move. But who are they really going to go on? So hard to try and kill Zai here. He's got BKB, Lotus, Blink, and a Yules. Like, how are you ever going to Stormhammer that guy? Matu has almost 3.5k HP, his own BKB getting close towards the Shivas. And BK's got a Lincoln Center BKB and a Silver Edge. It's like, these calls are going to be so hard for them to kill, and maybe they can get the kill on a Boxy.
Well, Boxy's starting to get the kill onto Crit, initiating with the Nether Strike charge. And Crit's still alive for now, but he has to be careful. Matu is closing in. Matu just wants one hook. Give me that flesh heap stack. Not gonna get it though. Zai steals the kill away from him. But the most important thing is that Crit is indeed dead. Might have a buyback forced out of him. We've already seen the clip force. They've got the Lincoln Sphere. They're jumping out on Arteezy, but we already have the force stop. Just the Blinkers member. They're going back onto Matumba Man. The Sonic Wave not really gonna help out from Harvey. But unfortunately, the right click damage not enough just yet. Find a very nice pushback coming in onto Xavier with a huge hit from the sharpshooter. Arbit is able to get a double kill by bringing down the punch. But now it's scary because Zai activates the ghost with the BKB. He's going in. Charge coming in from Boxy. They find Arteezy. They want the damage onto Sven. And the backlines, BK is busy cleaning up house all by himself on the SF. And Arteezy is finally about to fall. Zai gets a killing spree. Gonna get a double off the back of Fly's death as well. And that is Team Liquid. Despite losing the Matumba Man punch, still being able to demolish the team fight. EG is just out of damage, Fluke. They have no way to bring down everybody. They can bring down a solitary target, but the entire squad feels just like it's just beyond them right now.
Yes,
it's kind of crazy that not many people will talk about skill expression with a hero like Spirit Breaker, but Boxy, I don't know, man. He must see some angles, different, you know, times than a lot of other people do see, because he has been putting himself in the perfect position to get multiple heroes with these charges. He's constantly charging through these fights, understanding that as long as they can continue to kite out RTZ, that's when these team fights start getting easy for them. There was a few times there in that last team fight where I thought maybe RTZ was able to stick onto a few of these members, but Team Liquid, they just, you know, kited back. Boxy inside did a beautiful job at just keeping on top of the Sven, getting to a point where he can't just stand there and throw out a few more of these right clicks. And Liquid, they're just out team fighting EG right now. EG are doing a really good job being at this deficit to at least get some of these kills, especially a kill onto Matomba Man. But the way that Team Liquid has drafted this time around, I think they've put themselves in a really, really good spot to be able to hand EG their first loss of the group stages and move forward in the rest of this group and make this group spicy. I think that's the biggest thing for me here, Snare, is Liquid getting this dub against EG. Obviously, the game's not over just yet, but if Liquid get the dub here up against EG, makes this group stage a whole lot funkier here for Group A.
Yep. Oof. That fight also was a demonstration of just how strong the Shadow Fiend has become from EK. If he's not being stuck onto by RTZ, he's actually immortal in these fights. He's so strong. Stood his ground against 3 heroes by himself. Just right-clicking, right-clicking, right-clicking. And they're all like, well, like, it's really funny when there's 2 core heroes like Arbed and Nightfall are on top of him, and they're like, guys, we actually can't do anything. We have to leave this guy alone. If we fight him, he is going to kill us both. Nikkei is so strong. Their spirit has not been broken yet, Fluke. They're gonna smoke up. Looking for a quick pick-off so they can try and get this Roshan steal. Very, very difficult. Liquid are in position. They're at the ready. Sort of waiting for this exact kind of movement to come in from EG, and EG realize how dangerous going high ground can be here. And they go high ground, but they get caught in. But here's RTZ. They're looking for Nikkei with the sonic damage. They can kill the Shadow Fiend at long loss. On the back end of the fight, though, Matu inside. Enough both support, but now they get the Hex back out onto Zai. Zai on the Death Prophet trying to escape the middle of this fight. Matu caught between 3 heroes, and he's not going to be able to survive. Suddenly, Zai finding himself a little bit too isolated as well. And these heroes have fallen low, but not low enough. As Arbed keeps the chase going onto Boxy, as meantime Zai drawing away both RTZ and Nightfall closer to the Roshan pit. He's been used up, he's been caught out, he has been killed off, and Arbed finishes off Insania and a GD. That's a 4 freaking team wipe and a DD rune, and now they're gonna get the Aegis Cheese and Refresher shot. Oh wow, EG, man. EG! A bit too much premature to call the game just yet, here, Fluke. We are still in contention for a clean sweep in the Group A from EG.
Oh, that team fight was perfect from EG. I didn't really get to talk on it, but they have a Lincoln Sphere now on Arbed, and they have the Lotus Orb onto Nightfall. All they did is they BKB'd on the Sven, and they dropped the Lincolns, they dropped the Lotus on his head and said, off you go, RTZ, let's see how many people you can hit. And he was able to freely hit in these team fights, and that's kind of the reason why that these teams are starting to pick up this position 1 Sven, that if he doesn't get kited around and he's able to actually stick on some of these heroes, he does so much damage in these fights. He's able to put pressure back on towards the Shadow Fiend. He's able to make it so that Matu has to be playing in these awkward kind of peripheries of the fights, and RTZ and EG did such a beautiful job to be able to walk up towards that high ground there and pressure Liquid into taking that fight with them. And they knew that with that Lincolns as well as the Lotus Orb, there's no way for them to stop this Sven. And they have to BKB, they have to walk back, they have to kite back, and then EG just did a really good job at constantly pushing forward. And this is what I touched on for the entirety of this game, right? EG, their draft is all about being on the front foot. Their draft is about them running forward with this Sven, enabling him in these team fights, making sure that Crick can get these multiple bushwhacks off, get the sharpshooter down. Arbed blinks into the background, gets all of this chaos going. And the same thing with Liquid. They want to be on the front foot. They want to be able to catch out the Sven here. So now the table is turned once again here, Snare. It's about how can they outplay these Lincolns and how can they outplay these Lotuses for the side of Team Liquid. Do they need to start getting some more hexes? Do they need to start getting things along the lines of, you know, some of these extra bits of initiation, like, you know, the Spirit Breaker charging in, trying to get that Nether Strike going forward? Do they have ways of kiting around the Sven? Do they need more force stuffs? Do they need things like the Ghost Scepters and stuff? There's a lot of questions now for Team Liquid, who were in the driver's seat, but EG, I mean, this is the reason why they're 6-0 in their groups, right? Like, these guys are playing some really, really good Dota right now. They were behind the 8 ball, but they've been able to pull this one back, and now they're feeling pretty strong in their own right.
They also just cracked 25 on RTZ. He's building into his Lincoln Sphere, but with 25 talents, you got the bonus damage as well, so... Thought he was hitting hard before. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Next team fight that rolls around, they have to worry about themselves in the midst of it. Like you mentioned, they have to deal with multiple Lincoln Spheres, Lotus Orbs, all the like of these things. And I think the worst case scenario was also that Mickey got caught first in that last fight. That's literally, he just can't die first. They need access to this Requiem. They need access to the presence of the Dark Lord aura. And they just need his right-click damage. Without him being alive, the only real damage that they have in the midst of this team fight is the Rot and the Ghosts from Zai. But not at the point in the game where that's enough anymore. G, this Aegis in tow on Abed. Gonna smoke up. Just picked up an AC on Nightfall. My god, Ortiz is gonna hit so hard. This next team fight. Liquid need to dodge this at all costs. I don't know if they know this is happening. Zai might be a little bit too far forward here. Does have a blink dagger though. Should be able to get himself out. No, he can't. Ahmed has the Aghanim shot, so they keep him in position. They can't save him just yet. On the low ground now, Matu thinking about trying to eat somebody, but unfortunately won't be able to do so until RTZ jumps down to the low ground, and Zai has already been brought down. Nikke forced to BKB. Ahmed refreshes for the secondary Sonic Wave onto Matu, and now they've killed the Pudge. Insania jump forward with the Fire Snap Cookie, but that's just going to lead to his death. 3 heroes have fallen, and unfortunately here, Fluke, none of these heroes have buyback. The only positive thing is that the creep wave is all the way deep into this mid lane. Boxy was doing the right thing of pushing it out. So they're not going to get racks through this mid lane, but it's a very, very close call. As Team Liquid starting to feel the pressure against EG.
Yeah, if EG are able to be on the front foot, they look very, very scary here. This Sven just kind of is a juggernaut, and it's very, very hard for them to be able to deal with that. You just see what Matu was able to do with the bite. At least they're able to kite him around for a little bit, but everybody else was on the back foot, right? You know, Zai got caught in a very awkward position. They had to four-staff him down towards low ground, and it just starts getting scarier and scarier here for Team Liquid, because EG, they're getting the confidence back in towards their draft. They're getting the confidence back in towards his heroes as well. Arteez is getting closer towards that Lincoln Sphere. He builds up his own Lincoln Sphere. He never has to worry about being bitten. He can just kind of freely run around these team fights. He can start building damage. Maybe he builds towards an Aghanim Scepter for himself to constantly try and get on top of heroes like Mikke as well as Boxy. What we're seeing right now is EG wrangled this game back, brought it back towards a 50-50 win probability, and now they are in front. Feeling scary, feeling strong. Maybe we might see some more of this Sven as a response to heroes like the Shadow Fiend. I mean,
Boxy, the Hex. They do not have access to a Lincoln or a Lotus or anything on the Spirit Breaker, so just dies heads up. That's a gem given up as well. To buy back potentially, because I do not think that EG are going to not take this opportunity. They jump onto the high ground, looking for Matu. Here comes RTZ. They broke in the Lincoln onto Mikke. Lotus Orb back onto RTZ. Activate the BKB. Now Zai hexed up. He can't get off his spells, but at the same time they finally dismember onto Abed. Now Matu and the crew, they want to bound forward. The BKB from RTZ has expired. Zai with his own BKB goes deeper in the fight with the Exorcism Ghost, chasing down Fly. They've gotten that kill. Crit, the lone survivor so far, allowed to TP out on the high ground. I don't think Boxy has the vision here. Oh, he charges through. Realizes where he's at. Boxy, man. What is going on? Matu gets a triple kill off the back of this. Boxy with the reads, understanding exactly what's going on. And EG end up losing 3. And they put back on Abed as well, just on the tail end of that fight.
Yeah, I need to know what Boxy eats for breakfast, because I have no idea how he had that read there. That is some spidey senses, I think, there. And EG, now they're on the back foot once again. This is such a back and forth game between both these two juggernaut organizations, and you can just see what happens when they're not able to abuse the BKB that comes in from the Sven, right? When it gets to a position where the Sven isn't able to kind of get on top of the Shadow Fiend, get on top of this Pudge, and really kind of burn them to pieces. You see the issues that EG has, and it was a pretty clutch play coming in from Zai. The fact that he bought this Aghanim Shard, and the fear was what caught out Abed. He wasn't able to get his BKB off. He got feared, he got stunned, he got hooked, and that was all she wrote there. And now with 2 lanes of racks going down, EG with no buybacks in their back pocket, that I thought that they were going to be able to bring this one back, but Liquid once again swings the roundabouts, and they are swinging back hard here into the base of EG. They're not going to be able to get mega creeps here with RTZ respawning in 10 seconds, but man, they've done some damage to this base of EG.
Considering that they pushed right after a fight began on their own high ground, this is actually phenomenal. And it just shows how quickly that Zai and the crew can get from one side of the map to the other, dish out this damage. Of course, Mikke earlier on did get the 15 talent, so that the presence does affect these buildings, which helps a lot with this push. 8k gold lead right now for the side of Team Liquid. EG, damage is not the issue. It's about control. If they can avoid being controlled up, they can win these team fights. Really struggling at this point in time. And what's, you know, I keep talking about how Dota 2 is a game of margins. Remember that previous fight that EG won pretty resoundingly, also on the ramp of the tier 3 middle, and then Boxy was pushing out the wave so they couldn't actually go up the high ground? If that doesn't happen, and they actually get megas out of that, maybe this fight doesn't happen as well as it does, because then they won't have this tier 3 tower helping them with the additional protection to keep Zai alive, that extra second longer to get off that fear. Dota 2, game of margins, and this margin right now very favorable for Team Liquid. However, the last 2 days have taught us that comebacks can come from anywhere here, Fluke. If you're on the side of EG, what do they need to do next in order to still give themselves a fighting chance in this game?
I think they can just try and get a smoke going. Push out some of these waves like they're doing here with Nightfall and RTZ. Just try and force Liquid back on their side of the map. And once they start to get them separated a little bit, if they're able to catch out, you know, Shadow Fiend or even the Thunderman in some of these awkward positions, they don't want to be playing on the back foot. You can see as soon as that initiation comes through, Crit understands as long as he gets himself reset back in towards this fight, he's going to be A-okay. But EG, they permanently have to be dealing with these waves. And I think that's going to be the annoying part here for EG moving forward, is they're going to have to constantly be dealing with top and middle. That all it takes is Liquid to just hit a few crit waves. You know, if you just send a hero here, just hit one crit wave and not. Oh, Boxy. RTZ has been carded. Oh, no. We're going to talk about that one, boys. It didn't happen.
All right. It's fine.
RTZ just checking to see if his R button worked. Still works.
You gotta do these checks sometimes. You know, Dota 2 still in beta. Not sure if it might not work. And now they know though. Boxy scouted it out. Look what he's telling his team. He's like, guys, RTZ's on the other side of the map. Let's go force a fight. Matu. Somebody to jump onto with the dismember. He goes onto the high ground. Only comes a crit first. Crit gets stunned by Boxy, who charges through to try and find Fly. Never Strike will be there as well. Crit gets taken out. 65 seconds in the grave, no buyback. And also Nightfall gets caught out on the high ground through middle. He's dead too. He does have buyback. But now they have these ghosts from Zai flying everywhere. 4 versus 5. How on earth do they defend this? They cannot play against these megas. But they're about to have to deal with them regardless. Buff strength is down, exactly. That's why they went for this move. That one moment where Boxy able to avoid RTZ might actually be the death knell for the side of EG, as they now have to play against these mega creeps. Team Liquid can now back off. Roshan respawns in 25 seconds. EG. Now we're at the point where, RTZ, my friend, do we have enough gold for rapiers or anything special like that? I don't think you can't play normally anymore. That's just not going to cut it.
No. He bought a Swift Blink just recently as well, so there's going to be no rapier for him. There's an Arcane Blink now on Mickey. DD recruit outside of the pit. So the Miracle Rune, once again, is starting to favor Liquid this time around. It did favor EG a little bit more. They've got to smoke up here, though. If they're able to catch outside, maybe this might be what they need. Oh, the double Hex.
Oh, Lotus Orb hexes back Nightfall, so you can't keep the chase going onto this Death Prophet. Although RTZ was almost able to get the DD. Mickey snuck it in front of his face with the Silver Edge. If RTZ got that one, that would have been a huge deal. Shiva's gone. We'll scout these heroes out in the pit. Fly, hooked out of it. He's dead almost instantly. Arbed comes in with the Sonic Wave. Not enough damage though. The Sonic Wave is down. Doesn't have access to
RTZ.
Here comes RTZ, jumping onto Zai, eliminating him from the field of play. Buyback immediately forced out of the Death Prophet. But that was the BKB duration as well here. So that means they no longer have access to said BKB. Boxy, he's actually charging Fly inside the base to make sure he can't come and join the fight. But this is an awkward situation to be at EG. EG know that they really want the Roshan, but at the same time, Megas are pushing in here, Fluke. You can't ignore your base for the sake of the Aegis. So they have a very difficult decision to make about how they play this out.
Yeah, they have to try and clear these crit waves, and they're just going to have to give up the Aegis. They've got no God Strength for another 30 seconds. They don't really have the BKB either. It's just in this position now where Liquid they understood that EG are the ones that have to try and make something happen, right? They're the ones that have to try and get something done with this BKB God Strength. And as long as Liquid don't lose too many members, yeah, they lost Zai, but he bought back. He doesn't care. He's able to come back into this fight. Now they give the Aegis to the Immortal onto Mickey. They get themselves the extra Aghanim's Blessing that goes his way as well. And Liquid, they're in a really, really good spot here. EG, though, they still have some inroads. They still have a very small chance about being able to get this game going, because we've seen what Sven can do in these team fights, right? He bought the Rapier. Okay. All right, Snare.
My man.
We've got the Rapier here on RTZ. If If he's able to catch out some of these members, this can be a team fight that can go the way of EG. And if Liquid aren't privy to this information about the Rapier, this could be a hard fight for them. You know, if you're Mickey, you can walk up high ground, you can feel all nonchalant. Yeah, I got an Aegis, boys, look at me. Walk in, don't realize that Arteezy has a Divine Rapier. He comes in and he 2-hits you. And that's when things start getting spooky and weird. But the big thing for Liquid, Mega Creeps. They got Mega Creeps, they've got Aegis, they've got a Refresher Shard, they've got Cheese. It is all coming up Liquid right now. And EG have a very small chance at making this work, but I think they've only got one team fight left in them. They need this next team fight to go their way. They need Arteezy to try and get, I think, 2 kills a minimum in this fight. If they can kill Zai, he's got no buyback. If they can kill Mickey and at least force the Aegis through this first BKB, and that's when it's going to start to look nice for him. You can just see what Arteezy's doing. He's hiding in the base. He knows that if they see this Divine Rapier, he is going to get jumped on and he's going to die.
One bright spot with already being Mega is you don't have to worry about positioning to protect Rax, so you can just sit behind the Teal Tower. But Zion, the fight. Requiem comes out. They've already caught Crit. Crit is falling very low. Arteezy, he's now coming into the fight with the God Strike. He's trying to chop down Matumba Man. He will be able to get the kill onto the punch. Chasing onto Zion right now. Arteezy the sweet hero, but the BKB is finished. He's about to get feared. The charge coming in from Boxy as well. Can he run down Zion? Doesn't seem like he'll be able to. But he has demonstrated the power of this Rapier. Link coming back with the Swift. Will he really try to go for this? Yes, he does. He finds Insania. 3 shots him. There used to be a Snapfire, now there isn't. And Arteezy saves the game. The game's still going right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a 3k damage crit that came out from Arteezy as well. So they hold on. They're holding on here, Snare. Let's have a look at the win probability. It looks like a bit of a roller coaster that's going down. So it's dipping down a little bit here. 88% after Arteezy gets himself a few of those kills. You can see he's hovering around the back, right? He's hovering around. He knows that he can't put himself in too bad of a position. Arbe does a really good job at kiting out everybody on the left-hand side of the fight. They have to force the buyback here coming in from Boxy. They're looking to try and get on top of Zai, but they just weren't able to connect on that fight. And the fact that Mickey wasn't around to be able to help Matumba Man kill this Arteezy as he walks in with this Divine Rapier means that EG are just able to stand their ground and have Arteezy as the turret at the front. Oh, this is getting spicy, man. We had a 70-minute barn burner to end our day yesterday. Now we've got a 53-minute game here so far between EG and Liquid. Rapiers are abound. Is this the first Rapier of group stages as well? I think it is.
That is actually a very interesting question. We must find out actually if this is indeed the first Divine Rapier. Whew. This is
spicy. So I'm just trying to think here, Snare, right? About thinking about the avenues that are going to start to arise, right? Obviously, we've got Arteezy with this Divine Rapier, so he's going to be the big centerpiece for EG. On the other side of things, though, that Team Liquid is starting to get towards these latter stages where they have their own kind of items going around. Matumba Man went for this Refresher Orb, so I like that he has this BKB and the Shiva's Guard. Just wants to try and kite around Arteezy as much as they possibly can, but you can just see how patient Arteezy has been in these fights, and getting to the point now where as long as he's playing around what Mickey is doing, as long as he doesn't get Requiem, as long as he doesn't get kind of blown up by this Shadow Fiend, Arteezy is happy to play these fights nice and slow because they haven't been able to burst anybody just yet on EG. And oh man, this is... I don't know what it is, Snare. It's you and I together, brother. We get some interesting games, to say the least. Very interesting games.
Very interesting games. It's only been interesting games. We've only had like one game that was kind of stompy, but everything else has been barn burners the whole way through. And indeed, sir, I can confirm this is the first Divine Rapier at the International 2022. So TI11's first Rapier belongs to Arteezy. Wants to go himself into this Moonshot as well. I mean, he had to sort off the Echo Saber to make sure he had enough gold for the Rapier. So it would be nice to get some more attack speed. Because we did see in that last fight that when he was far away from Nightfall, the attack speed didn't feel that great. So we will definitely need some additional buffing up for Arteezy. But the way he's playing this out, you mentioned it now, he's playing it so patiently. He'll get the gold, and he realizes as well that having buyback in a situation where you're playing against Megas with a Rapier, buyback is much less important than just winning the fight outright. So do everything in your power to just get the straight up dub. Brings in this Moonshot. He's gotten the buff for himself. And now because Aegis has expired, Team Liquid, they've seen from that last fight that Arteezy is nothing to mess with anymore. So they might not feel brave enough to go and end this game until the next Aegis. And if that happens, Fluke, you know what we're getting? We see 5 neutral items before this game ends.
Ooh, oh, those T5 neutral items can really blow this game out as well. Like, if they get, like, Force boots is going to be a huge one. If they get themselves like a mirror shield, could be absolutely massive as well. Apex, Giant's ring on Arteezy, 35 strength and 50 move speed. That's going to be spicy. Even something along the lines of like a pirate hat. I feel like just giving Arteezy as much movement speed and as much attack speed as it possibly can is exactly what they need. I think on the other side of things for Team Liquid, Mirror Shield would be pretty good for themselves as well. Even the Book of Shadows. I think the Book of Shadows is going to be really, really big if Team Liquid are able to get that. This gives you that extra bit of immunity up against Arteezy, because as long as you're untargetable, you're going to be A-okay to be able to deal with this spend. So, oh, the C5 neutral items, they're going to be scary here, Snap. And Team Liquid, they know they don't want to throw this game. I think that's the biggest thing for them, is they're in the driver's seat right now. And they're forcing EG to have to play these kind of like 2%, kind of plays, right? Where they're like, they've got this Divine Rapier on Arteezy. They're going to have to try and play this kind of weird and wacky style. And as long as Liquid hold on, you're going to have to force EG to try and make a mistake, because they're going to get antsy, right? It's going to get to a point where EG not feeling all too good about how this game is going, and they're really going to want to try and get this game ended as well. As we can see on our screens, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, PSG OGD are actually ahead up against OG in that game. So it's a big spooky one on that A stream.
I need PSG LGD to start finding some form. I need those battle points for them to win TI, so figure it out, boys. Let's do. I love this game as well. The state that we're in at the moment. We're at the point where nothing matters but buybacks. Net worth, who cares? Yep. Buybacks are the only important thing, and they're starting to come back right now for the side of EG. Both supports have access to it. Arbet has it as well. It's only really Nightfall on the Broodmother and the Arteezy Sven to pick this up at the very end. It's very, very close right now. In 40 seconds, we'll know exactly how long it'll take before the big man returns. For the side of Liquid, they want the faster the better. They do not want to be just standing outside of the space. This is very so similar to yesterday, right? Where we just see the one squad having entire control of the map, but feeling a little bit skittish about taking a head-on fight because of the damage outlay of the primary carry. G, they smoke up. They're going for the jugular. They're being proactive about this. Maybe they're trying to catch out Team Liquid. About Roche. They want to catch them out before the Roche starts. But who can they go on here? Crit has vision. He's been scouted out. Boxy comes in with the charge, forced to cancel it. And Insania already committed the Morty's kisses here. EG, just get back. They know that the jig is up. They've been scouted. And of course, the jig is up in the base as well. Creeps are always going to reveal the fact that they're no longer nearby, given that the Megas are always pushing in.
Yep, and that's the big thing here for Team Liquid, is they're always going to have these mega creeps pushing in towards the base, and it's always about how EG handle that. Can they find a small little window where they can push out some of these creep waves? The bonus thing for them as well is they've got heroes that can really actually deal with these waves relatively well. Nightfall's able to deal with it pretty well on the Broodmother, and we've already seen what Arteezy can do with the Great Cleave. So it's getting to points now in this game where Liquid are just trying to set up their waves, but they don't have to worry about EG smoking out of them, and EG are trying to set up their waves so they can do moves like this. They're looking to see if they can catch out Team Liquid lacking. Team Liquid, they're doing a really good job at just spacing themselves out, just not putting themselves into bad positions, putting themselves in a scenario where Arteezy can blow people up. Within 40 seconds, Arteezy. Creeps are in the base though here, Snap.
Yep. Somebody has to go back. Push is over. This aggression is done. We have to go and deal with this. It's very unfortunate for EG. I think they were hoping for an earlier Roche. The earlier the Roche, the better for them, but be a late one. Coming in another 80 seconds from this point. Liquid still happy to just keep all of these waves pushed out. Happy to be playing with these megas. And EG, they're so frustrated, right? Because Team Liquid, because they're playing this more split map style so many times, splitting these waves, EG can't find like a direct connection for the smoke. So that's the second one they committed just now in the last 2 minutes. And I don't think they'll be able to go for another one just yet. Really can't give up this Aegis either. At the same time, Arteezy about to have money for the full buyback as well. Arteezy can buy back, this would be huge, but Arteezy might have also been scouted. I think they see him, he's been jumped on. Dismember, there from Matumba Man, side in with the Exorcism Ghost as well. And Arteezy can't get over the spell. They buy the time though, gets over the Sonic Wave, but the Requiem from Nicky brings down the Sphere. That's a rapier on the tip, picked up by Boxy. Arbet still doing his best to try and fight this. Sonic Wave though, will be Arbet able to reclaim the rapier. He passes it on to Arteezy might want to re-engage onto this fight. Can they get there in time? Blink forward. Won't be able to be there. And who's gonna die next? Nobody, because Team Liquid are on the retreat. RTZ finds the Stormhammer. Out onto Matu. Gets the damage out. Matumba Man is gonna end up dead 100 seconds in the grave. And Abed slow chasing has access to this rapier, so there's a lot of damage coming from this Queen of Pain. And EG
Stop in 5 seconds.
fight here, but they get them important kills. Roche is going to be online. If they can force a buyback from Matsu, then it won't feel so bad that RTZ brought back, but RTZ, he's on cleanup duty back inside the base. They might not be able to fight for stages. At the same time, they have found Mickey. Sharpshooter hit will be there. He doesn't have access to a BKB anymore, but it's coming back in 2 seconds. So EG have to flee. Zai cannot find the Wind Waker proc out onto Nightfall, given that he has both Blinkins and Lotus Orb, so he'll be safe. Now Team Liquid has clocked the fact that this Roshan is back online. Matu brought back, so they need to do something about this. They need to get the Aegis into his hands. RTZ though doesn't have enough gold to buy another rapier. We'll buy the Aghanim Scepter instead. So that's gonna get him deeper into the fight. Maybe he used the Swift Blink to get out, but he's actually just going in. RTZ? RTZ?
Oh, RTZ?
He's on the high ground here, forcing a fight up against the side of Mickey and Matumba Man. They use their BKB, Zai fears away crit. But if it's wasted BKB, it just might be worth it. Nightfall though, might have to commit his life for this one. He died 2 minutes in the grave, 5 back immediately, but somebody has to go home here. Look at the base fluke. These are megas that they're dealing with on the side of EG. It's so difficult to keep control of this game. And RTZ will have to return here just to clean up these waves, but that gives a free path towards the Roshan for Team Liquid. Matu will be so happy with this. And this is a Roshan with all the goodies, my friend. An axe, cheese, refresher shot, and the young Aegis itself. They're about to get even stronger on the side of Team Liquid, despite not having a buyback available on Matu.
Yeah, it's you see those last couple of fights. RTZ, yeah, he might be fast, but you know, circling back to when RTZ died first, they got baited by the tier 5 neutral item snare. RTZ was trying to get a tier 5 neutral item. He got himself force boots, so he got himself a nice one, but the reason why he was out of the base was because they wanted the tier 5 neutral item. Zai now has the Giant's Ring, force boots are up on RTZ. There's a Book of the Dead on Nightfall, so maybe some of this rat shenanigans. There is a mirror shield that comes out onto Matumba Man and force boots for Mickey as well. So the tier 5 items are starting to pile up here for the side of Liquid. They're the ones that have control of the entirety of this map. Or Arcanist armor could be massive against a Sven who does a whole lot of damage. So looking to see if they can connect here onto Matumba Man. Use God Strength once again here on RTZ, so we want to try and play around here. Stygian Desolator as well, so going to be able to transfer that on towards the Shadow Fiend, who's going to do a whole boatload of damage.
Yeah.
Might want to still hold on to the force boots though.
I mean, is damage really the issue anymore, right? I think they don't really need the additional damage outlay. It's more important that he has multiple sources of survivability. So having Arcane Blink, Force Boots, Hurricane Pike, and Silver Edge probably carries a little bit more currency than just having the raw right-click damage. I think they might actually just leave the Destiny. Like, who needs this? They gave it to
Boxy.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, Boxy, there have been times where his 1 or 2 hits have been instrumental. He's sitting here with 30 assists on the Spirit Breaker this game. Kind of incredible. Jump forward for Matu, misses the hook though. No target for the Dismember just yet. Crit, holding them back with the Bushwhack. But with this Aegis in tow, Team Liquid, they're tired of this game here. They know that we've already had a 70-minute game. They want that one to be the longest one. Don't want to extend it any farther. Team Liquid now smoke up on 3. Mickey, waiting for the opportunity to go in with the Arcane Blink Requiem. Does he have a chance yet? RTZ started out in the top lane. Is Mickey going in? There's the God Strength. There's going to be the fear onto Arbet, but he does get off the BKB. Charge in onto RTZ. He will be hit by Boxy, who activates BKB. They want to force the BKB out of RTZ, but it's not happening just yet. The Nisa has to fly. Will end up dying to the exorcism. But RTZ, right clicking on the edge of the fight, able to bring down the first line of Matu. Already killed Insania. Mickey though gets off the fear. RTZ, will he survive this fight? He doesn't have the Satanic proc because he's feared and he's killed. 2 minutes in the grave, no buyback for the Aegon. As Crit cannot contend with these exorcism goes. He gets charged into by Boxy, leaving Nightfall all alone to try and defend this. Crit will buy back. Arbet is just on the high ground, but EG, they see the writing on the wall. They acknowledge the power of Team Liquid, and they will suffer their first loss in the group stages as Team Liquid take game number 1 in this best of 2 series What a performance coming in from the Dark Horses.
Ganda na laban. Ah. Ulti, PSG. Start na ba?
Is boom against boom. There's a lot of boomage going on here, so there is potential. Now there is still a tough road ahead. We were kind of looking at the schedule for them. They still have teams like OG, EG, LGD. I mean, this is not going to be easy. But welcome to TI 11. But still, it's getting that first win under your belt. That at least it's got to feel good and maybe build up some momentum moving forward when it comes to their psyche, etc. So. All right, we got the draft though. It looks like it's getting started right here. But Hikori, on the other hand, they've split all their series. So as far as I'm concerned, they're the favorites here in game 2.
But like that was what I was trying to get to, right? It's like this is just part of the course. This is a pattern just coming out. Hikori, like everyone's huffing their copium right now for SA. They could still just turn this around. They can make it 1-1. I mean, we made an argument that, you need to win some of these series. You can't just draw them all. But in fairness, how some of the other teams are doing here, if you just drew all your series, you could be comfortably probably 5th or 6th in the groups.
Yeah, I don't see why. I mean, if Hikori draws all of their series with teams like EG and OG, etc. I mean, again, they've already done it against LGT. I think that's a very, very good, successful group stages, especially in their case. So absolutely agree there.
And just looking at how we're going to open up here. This time, the Marcy is not going to make an appearance. Oh no, despite the fact Bet Boom were able to overwhelm at the end. They won't allow it. But that crafty demon got through. Shadow Fiend, that has been banned quite frequently, I think almost always banned against the SA teams, otherwise picked, is going to make an appearance in the hands of an SA team again.
Shadow Fiend has been, again, I don't know if it's necessarily been surprising, but
10 seconds
is
remaining.
the 4th most picked hero at these group stages. 16 games, 10-6, and when not picked, has proven to be one of the most banned heroes. I'm kind of looking through right now. Yeah, he's up there as far as the top 5 banned hero, I want to say. So Shadow Fiend is basically a TI 11 hero that we should expect to see here throughout the group stages, whether it's picked or banned, and definitely into the playoff stage. I will, on top of that, in Hikori series yesterday that had the chance to cover, Analog played one of the best Shadow Fiend games I've seen in a very long time. The dude is a freak of nature, at least from my 1 game sample size that I saw. So I am looking forward to seeing more Analog Shadow Fiend here in this one.
Oh god, and speaking of freaks of nature, and they're going to make an appearance, the Primal Beast is going to come out. But just quickly round out that fort in the Shadow Fiend, I think it has been a big surprise. Not a surprise now, but leading in. Because when you look at regional metas, the only region that had this in some of their top picks at all was China with 22 games. And it had a subpar 50% win rate. Apart from that, this hero has been heavily neglected until you look at pre-TI pub stats, where it is the most played hero at the highest level in people's pubs around the world. So in some ways, we should have kind of sensed this. Like looking at the data as well, by the way, other heroes that were picked a lot in those pubs. Shaker, no surprise there. We've seen loads of teams try to make that work. Tusk, of course, has been an effective solution. Silencer has been a hit and miss. Nature's Prophet, a heavy amount of games but not actually picked that much. Ember Spirit is the surprise to me. Not that many Ember Spirit games, considering that it was the 4th or 5th most picked in pub games. I think the surprising one to me on top of that, though, is that Mirana was incredibly popular. I don't think we've seen any Mirana games whatsoever.
We haven't ourselves. Yeah, I'd be curious now that you mentioned that. I'm curious to check it real quickly. 4 times a 3-1 record, so has been seen again 4 times.
Okay.
Not a lot in comparison to all the heroes. A top 50 hero, but again, only means so much. Yeah, interesting point there. But how about Pango though to go with the Shadow Fiend and perhaps it also keeps you guessing now as who's going to be where. I mean, Shadow Fiend safe lane is something we have seen plenty as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this could easily be an SF safe lane, especially when you pick it this early. Then again, like that's the interesting part about Hikori. So Hikori, compared to a lot of other teams here, aren't afraid to just throw out the carry pick very early on, because the way that they draft, it's not about like necessarily the carry having the best matchup. It's about them having a carry that can 5-man Dota, because this is an aggressive team. I mean, you saw it with their picks last game. They just want to fight.
I mentioned early on in game 1, no matter how it ended, that the Pudge ban certainly has to be thought about as a respect ban. Now, obviously, they ended up losing, but I still think that it's at least got to be on the table. Granted, with this opening, maybe it's not as likely anyways in the first place, so I suppose I could be fine if BetBoom goes without the Pudge respect ban here.
Yeah, I think this time around, maybe not as threatened by it. Primal Beast and Silencer are decent heroes to kind of counter-initiate. That being said, for me, BetBoom, I don't think really any team has been seeing that great of a success with the Silencer. And I think one of the big issues is that a lot of the time we see these drafts where it comes out and it's more like it's a reset. The problem with that is that means you're drafting in a way that doesn't enable you to take the fights. It enables you to try and counter the fights, which is much more difficult to do. So seeing the Pangolier show up, like it's once again the type of hero that where Sansa can be this kind of counterattack to the follow-up of the Pango, whatever comes next. But the cool thing is it can enable kills onto heroes like Pango. Even the Shadow Fiend, actually. I think like in this game, it's not the worst pick, because especially the SF, if he goes for the BKB Requiem bombs, you can just interrupt him, and you can turn a fight off the back of that.
I love seeing kind of a note here with again, I love the player camps, but we've seen teams like this in the case of BetBoom, how they have all these, like...
Hey guys, thanks for watching. It's a bit hot, cannot stay.